we have finished 14 slokas. We have total 44 slokas. But basic concepts are provided as yesterday. So the rest of it is only inbuilt on that. So it's easy to follow once if you understood the previous. Let's start with sloka 15.
Satyaschidatma vividakritishyat
Satyaschidatma vividakritishyat
Siddhet pratak satyachito na bhinna Siddhet pratak
satyachito na
bhinna Bhusha vikaraha kimu santi satyam Bhusha vikaraha kimu
santi satyam
Vina suvarnam pratagatra loke
Vina suvarnam pratagatra loke
Satyaschidatma vividakritishyat Siddhet pratak satyachito na bhinna Bhusha vikaraha kimu santi satyam Vina suvarnam pratagatra loke.
Any knowledge of the world requires the five senses operating. That's what we learned last time. Sabdadivi. So Sabda, Rupa, Sabda, Sparsa, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Those are the five sense inputs. So observation of the world or knowledge of the world or the experience of the world involves these five senses only, each one in its own field of operation, where eyes can only see, ears can only hear, like that each one has its field of operation, and all the whole universe is nothing but falls into these five categories only, nothing more that we can observe. We don't have the sixth sense. We may have sixth sense, people may climb, but sixth sense, we are talking about the five senses that are physical through the system that we can observe. So every object or knowledge of every object involves, say this is a pot, the knowledge of the pot involves fundamentally two things. When I say this is a pot, I am grasping from the pot the attributes of the pot and putting an image of the pot in my mind and looking at that image and say, now I am conscious of the pot image in my mind and say there is a pot out there. So in all this so-called process that are mechanics that is going on, if we really dissect exactly what's happening, even though pot is there, I am only looking at the pot as an object only, without recognizing, I am not really seeing the object, I am seeing the existence of the pot or existence in the form of a pot, as we did yesterday. It is existence in the form of a pot with the attributes of name and a form. Attributes is for the form is an attribute and a name is given to it. So that when somebody says pot, now I have an idea what pot is, otherwise I don't know what it is. My mother has to tell me that is a pot, or this is a cow, that is a horse. That's how my knowledge is growing from childhood on, where I recognize the attributes of the object that I see and record it in my image and giving a name attached to it. So the name and the form going together, stored together. So when the name comes, the image also comes in from the memory. So when I say cow, automatically you have an imagination of cow which is stored in your memory. Why it comes? Because in the past you already noticed that form associated with the cow, the generic qualities of it. of what normal cows, all the cows have, that what is stored in the memory as a cow. If I say white cow, then you have cow plus whiteness also superimposed. Right? That's how the knowledge is. So every knowledge of any object that I see in the world goes through the same process, where the existence of the object out there, as though, is transferred into the existence in the mind as a thought, where I put objects attributes to the thought, to that image attributes. So what I am transferring is only the attributes only, not the part. Part doesn't enter into my mind, thank God. So part is still there, only the attributes of the part is entering into mind as though through the senses, and superimposed the form that I have imagined on the basis of the attribute of the form, color, all those things on the image. So what is really now happening? The existence outside is transferred into existence inside. Existence in the form of part outside is as though, quote unquote, transferred as the existence of the image of the same part as grasped by my senses. If my senses are defective, the part is also defective in my mind. Other part may be good, but my part that I see is defective. If the attributes are not complete, the image is also fuzzy logic. You remember fuzzy logic is there. It says whether it's a part, whether it's a snake or a rope, that fuzzy logic, it will decide based on the attributes it has received. So all that information, knowledge is conditioned by my sense input. And the sense input depends upon external attributes of that, what it can record from the senses. So the whole knowledge, all the process, all we say, I know this, all that we transact as if things are all guaranteed or taken for granted, involves this, what? Observation of the attributes and existence of the part outside or an object outside is transferred into in the form of existence inside. That's the first part. So the second part is, as the thought, which is vritti, existence, rises, there is a reflection of that by the light of consciousness that is ever shining all the time. Not that it wants to reflect whenever thought comes. It is there all the time, but as it rises, just as you enter into this room, your reflection automatically comes because the light is already in the room. Bright light is already in the room. So as you enter, you start reflecting, then I see you are coming in because I am noticing not you, but the light reflected by you. Right? That's what the observations are. And therefore, the knowledge is complete when the consciousness gets reflected by the thought, and the reflected consciousness is what you recognize as the knowledge of the thought, which is the thought is nothing but contains the attributes of the object outside. Object outside exists, thought inside exists, therefore existence of the object there has become existence in the mind as a thought, and the existence of the object there becomes existence, and existence joined with the consciousness to become conscious of the existence of the thought outside. You follow? That's how the knowledge is. I am conscious. What is knowledge? Means I am conscious of. That's all it means. So consciousness and the existence, Sat and Chit, together joining in the mind for the knowledge to take place, along with attributes of the object, right? Attributes of mind is not creating attributes. Mind is only grasping through the senses. Along with the attributes of the object is knowledge of the whole world. These attributes are real or unreal. If it is unreal, I won't be able to see, because if it is just like called the classical, the Vedantic example is called Vandhyaputraha. This is the son of a barren woman. Hey, look at the son of a barren woman. Say, how can he be? If there are no men, there cannot be any sun. So that which is non-existent at any time, in fact, that is there is no locus for existence at any time. So I am very precise that's why my science background comes here. Basically, every statement is precise in that, because otherwise it will be confusion. It is not the time, it is the locus of the existence of such an object is not there at any time. So time is beyond. And therefore, there is no object of that. So that is called essentially asat. Asat means that has no existence or no locus for existence at any time. Okay? Sat is that which exists all the time. It exists, that which cannot be removed at all. But these attributes are only a superimposition, because the Sat itself is infinite, that we analyzed in the first sloka itself. That is infinite, so there cannot be anything other than the Sat. So if there is something other than the Sat that is only superposed or superimposed on top of the existence, just as the thought exists, on top of it I am superimposing the attributes on it. It's called superimposition. And superimpositions are, because I am experiencing it, they are not asat. They are not like Vandhyaputra. Huh? But they are not permanent either. Sat existent, because another thought comes. I see chair here. Now when I turn, the chair gone, I have a table thought coming in. So like the waves in the ocean, the waves in the consciousness, as though they are rising and going on. Each wave is different from other wave. The attributes of each wave is different from other attributes of other waves, but wave is still wave. I am seeing the wave only because reflection of the wave by the thought, by light of consciousness. But if you look at the contents of the wave itself, every part of the wave is nothing but water only, which is nothing but the ocean. Every part is not really different from the ocean, but yet wave is not an ocean. Right? So every wave is different from the ocean. At the same time, every wave is the ocean also. So the ocean itself is existing in this form now. Forms are different, but the basis of the form, each form is ocean itself. In the same way, the mind, as though all our perturbations are occurring in the mind, and that is called, each one is a different thought, but all are coming from the existence itself, because the mind exists, the basis for it. I am only transferring the attributes outside to attributes inside in the form of a wave. Okay? And consciousness of that by reflection, I can, the unity of Chit and Sat together makes knowledge complete. So Brahman, if you look at the whole thing, the whole analysis, Brahman, which is existent as just pure existence outside as inert objects, means Brahman expressing itself just as existence, and in me both existent and consciousness. Right? Now knowledge takes place when these two are joined together, the existence of the object out there, the consciousness of the inside together, forming a knowledge of the existence of the world. Why Brahman exists only as the existence? When Brahman is consciousness, why it is existing as existence? It's nothing to do with the Brahman problem. It's something to do with what it is manifesting as. In the sense, the equipments that are, say, the chair and the table, all those are inert, we call it, only because it can only reflect that part of Brahman, if at all they say, quote unquote, not that Brahman has a parts, expresses only that depending upon their capabilities or the upadhi. So the upadhi of the chair and all the inert things, there is no subtle body there, there is only gross body there. Therefore, gross body can express the Brahman only as pure existence. Gross body is, right? So, the body, which is part of, including this body, all physical body, all the physical matter, only can express the Brahman in the form of existence. That's all they can reflect. If you shine just like a mirror, if it's a dull surface, it won't reflect like a mirror. I cannot go and look at the floor and look at my face because my face is not getting reflected there. It's nothing wrong with my face. And it's nothing wrong with the floor also, but the floor doesn't have the capability to reflect all the light back. It absorbs only, right? I don't know if you know what colors and all that. If something is a red color, what does it mean? You know, it absorbs all other light except red. That's what it means. In the VBR, it absorbs all other colors except the red light. That's why you are seeing red. I don't want to get into that, but this is what the process is. That means the existence of an object is only because Brahman, which is all-pervading, can only express in the form of existence in the inert objects because there is no subtle body there. When there is a subtle body along with the gross body locked in together, as we are all here, then Brahman expresses as existence in the physical body. Also, because these equipments are capable to reflect the light or consciousness, therefore it also expresses as reflected light, which can be reflected depending upon, of course, how pure it is. The mirror is pure, it can reflect all the light. So he is bright, Brahma Tejas. And Brahma Tejas means what? Says, remember in the Upanishads we were talking about the Tejas, we say, let me get the Brahma Tejas, means let me purify my mind, polish the mind. So someone is, we are all brainwashing. Yes, brain need to be washed so that it can reflect all the light. That's what brainwashing is. So what is the impurity? Impurity is coming from the vasanas, likes and dislikes, all that. That's what the impurity is. Covering the, when you don't have the impurities, then whole Brahman, the whole light of consciousness brilliantly coming out. Okay, that's what it is. And therefore, the subtle body is capable of reflecting the light of consciousness, and therefore it expresses as life principle itself. So from Brahman, the Brahman actually shines in the intellect. Sada sarvagatotmyatmana sarvatra vabhasate buddhya veva bhaseta swachchetu pratibimbavat. It's in the Atma Bodha, right? So in the buddhya veva bhaseta, it shines brilliantly in the brilliant, remember he's a brilliant intellect, we call him. That intellect first, from the intellect to the mind, and to the body, all the process. And therefore, death is nothing but separation of the subtle body from the gross body. So they say, not Brahman is not living anywhere, consciousness is living, Atma is not living anywhere, because it's everywhere. So people ask questions also, what happens to the Atma? Is he going here? See, people talk about soul is different, Atma and soul, all these words get confused because of this problem. It is the mind and intellect that leaves the body, the subtle body. This whole the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita talks about this. Leaves this gross body, goes and searches for the fields where it can express those burning vasanas that are coming. You are leaving this body only because this body is no more conducive to exhaust the next set of vasanas that are germinating. So you seek an environment conducive to express. Can I experience without the body? Certain things you can. That's what you do in the dream. When you dream, this outer body's connection is temporarily at least cut off, where you create your own body inside the dream, even though other body is sleeping. This body that you create in the dream can travel all over the world, right, in the dream. And it has its own laws and all those things. You know what, all the dream that since you dream, you know what it is. And get up again, in the same bed, not in Australia or somewhere else. You might have traveled there, but you have to get up from this because, again, you are occupying the other physical body. So, subtle body can experience the fields. So, is there another lokas? Are there swarga? All those questions, yes, you are experiencing every day so lokas, different lokas. It is exactly the same way. It is the mind and intellect, subtle body. It packages all equipments. If you look at Mandukya Karika, Mandukya Upanishad, it tells you this second statement, exactly same statement in parallel. It tells you this is what happens in the dream also. Ekona Vimshati Mukhaha. There are 19 gateways even in the subtle body itself. In the dream state also you have 5 senses. All those things are there in the dream. As a dream object, you have your own senses, looking at the tigers and all those things that are in the dream. You have karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, because you are running away from the tiger. Remember, all those things are there. And as long as you are dreaming, you don't think it is a dream, it is real. It's a real tiger that is chasing you, right? Not the false tiger. Only when you get up from the bed on the dream, then you realize, oh, that was a dream. So, sakale satyavad bhati prabodhi satyasad bhavid. When, as long as you are in that field of experience, the world that you are experiencing is real. The reality doesn't establish that. What is absolutely real is that which is beyond the words. That you are a waker, that you are a dreamer, that you are a deep sleeper. That I am is never negated, because worlds are negated. The aching state is negated. Again means dismissed when I go to dream. When dream is dismissed when I go to deep sleep state. All the worlds are dismissed, but I cannot dismiss myself. Right? That's why it is Satyam. And here, Bhagavan compresses these epistemological issues that I just mentioned in one line. That is brevity. Here says, so Chidatma Satyaha, Sat and Chit Atma Swarupam, Chit Vividhakrutihi Vrittihi Bhavati. Vividhakruti in varieties and varieties of forms, it expresses itself. It's what? The Sat and Chit. How it is expressing? As the thoughts, I went through all the process. When I say I am thinking, this is a pot, this is a chair, this is a table, existence outside and the consciousness, that is Sat, as though outside, has brought Sat inside, and consciousness and Sat together joining into consciousness of existence of all the things. So Vividha means varieties of ways it is expressing every day. Now should I do meditation? Just now we did meditation. Should I do meditation to concentrate on the Sat and Chit that I am? When is that you are not I am? Only meditation is turning your attention from getting carried away with the pot and the chair and all that, attributes of the object that you are perceiving, but concentrating on the essence of each one. Follow? So that means part what? Every object is existence outside, as though I brought in inside, and I am putting consciousness together. Consciousness and existence together becomes a knowledge of the part, right? Knowledge of the existence of the part. So every thought is nothing but object outside transferred, the attributes inside. The existence is the same. Existence you don't transfer, it is infinite. So existence outside is same as existence. Just now, remember I told you there is existence here, there is existence between, there is existence in the table, on all that. There is nowhere existence is not there. So existence, as though appearing in the attributes outside, has become existence attribute inside in the image. And when I am getting carried away with the attributes, forgetting the substantive. What is a substantive? According to the science, there is no really substantive. They're still finding out what is a chair or what is a table, or because the more you break it, the more you're getting into small electrons, protons, and still they're trying to find out what is the fundamental particle that is in which it is built up of. They don't know yet. Whatever they're trying to build in Europe, that is going to reveal the fundamental particles. But this will go on because the science is like that. But what Vedanta says is, the fundamental particle, if at all you want to call it, is yourself, because the existent consciousness is the very basis for the universe itself, and expresses in vividha, in varieties and varieties of forms and so on. So if I had to do meditation, it's only in those moments we are only learning how to meditate. Okay? Because you should be in meditation all the time, because every time you are only consciousness, existence, thoughts keep coming. I can watch the thoughts, I can recognize the attributes, also I can recognize the substantive of all the thoughts also. What's the substantive? Existence and the consciousness that I am together. Therefore, a jnani doesn't have to sit down and meditate. Jnani is the one who recognizes I am in spite of plurality. Advaita is non-duality in spite of duality. Duality should not disturb Advaita. So Dvaitins don't bother us actually. Unless they come and to bother us, we don't have problem, because we can see where they are, that's all. So if I understand correctly, there is a meditation is to understand this clearly, where I can be in meditation all the time to the degree unless I get carried away with the thoughts. Our problem is we get carried away with the thoughts, giving reality to the thoughts, forgetting the reality underneath the thoughts. Right? If we can give reality to the bottoms, the substantive, which is really real, not really false or whatever the apparent things, then that is knowledge. So now you all realize now what exactly realization is. Paying attention to the very real that in everything also. Here Bhagavan emphasizing this. So chidatma satyaha chit vividha kruti bhavanti. Bhavati is essentially what add. Satyasthitaha bhinna prathak siddhyate. The same existent consciousness that expresses in prathak means in varieties, in different forms and expressions. Why should it express? Because why not? Says that's why they say why Lord created. That's why this is some of the theories also. Why Lord created? So if you ask the Visishtadvaitins and Dvaitins, and says why not? Because the Lord has capacity to create, therefore he can create. Who are you to question? If he has to answer you, then he is no more Lord. So, that's why he is a Lord. So that's why it's called Leela Vibhuti. Leela Vibhuti means it is the play. Even my cat, we used to have a cat, we used to call a cat lollipop. So that doesn't, if you give something, it doesn't eat immediately, it wants to play, like even cat wants to play, or dog wants to play. So why not Lord? Lord also wants to play. Only problem is, he can play as long as but why at my expense? That's our problem is. Our problem is. If I ask that question, in this case, who are you? He'll ask you are the Lord and who is playing and you are asking me to explain it. So that's, when I first went to listen to this theory of karma, I had same questions as everybody has. When did the first vasanas come and all that? So I went and asked Swamiji. So he asked me to come and meet him. So when I asked that question, that's a very, very good. He was seriously telling me that's a very, very good question. No one asked that kind of question. So write it down. So I took a paper. He gave me paper and a pen. So I wrote it down. Fold it. He said, I folded it. Put it in your pocket. So I put it. When you go and meet Brahman, ask that question. So that I remember vividly all that. So then he said, he was compassionate. The problem is when you go to Brahman, these questions will not be there. You are that Brahman. That's the whole philosophy is. So here, the expression is without the existent principle and without the consciousness principle, there cannot be anything that you can observe. There cannot be anything exists also, because you say it exists. Existence has to be there. So existence, remember we told 5 things. I don't know if you remember first. No, nobody remembers. That's why Chinmaya Mission members, we can keep on talking. Because what we say yesterday, people don't remember anyway. So we can continue. We used to have a study group. Veena Gupta is not here. After 5 years, we used to have study group. I know some people are from the study group are here. We used to have study group. I used to conduct a study group there. After 5 years, I found the same questions they were asking 5 years ago, or same being asked again. I said, I'm giving up. So the teacher has to give up. So existence is the one that pervades every object, right? And existence is not limited by the boundaries of the object, whether it's a Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. Existence lends existence to all the objects. Without existence, there is no object. We cannot say objective means existence is there. And existence is there even when you remove the object, when either Aham is there, or Jiva is there, or Jagat is there, or Ishvara is there, as in the deep sleep state. I have no notion of that I am, and therefore there is no world, there is no God also. Still, I am existent was there. Nobody will go to sleep if they think that they are not going to be existent. They will try to be awake. If it's there, you won't be there anymore. Nobody will go to sleep. Because they know that they will be going to be existing. And that existence that survives even when the objects are removed, that existence is imperceptible, cannot be grasped by any senses. And this is true for Chaitanyam, this is true for existence also. And that is existence is very basis for existence of any objects in the world, including I am. And it is like Vinas, here the example is, Bhagavan gives is, how can there be bhusha vikaraha, the varieties and varieties of the golden ornaments that you see, and how can they exist? Without Savarna, without the gold, can there be an ornaments? In the same way, without the existence, can there be any existence of any object? And any object existence cannot be established unless I have the knowledge of its existence. Remember Gaga Bubu? At least that much. Gaga Bubu doesn't exist because I have no knowledge of its existence. So Gaga Bubu exists only when I have the knowledge of the existence of Gaga Bubu. Then I say Gaga Bubu is. So every object involves the knowledge of the existence of the object as is. So knowledge and existence cannot be separated because I have to be there, a conscious entity has to be there to establish the existence of the object there. Without the consciousness present, is there an object there? You prove. The ball is in your court. If you can prove that there can be an object without the consciousness of the existence of the object, how are you going to establish? If you say, yeah, there is something, then it means you are conscious of it already. So you cannot even talk about it, about some object, that's like it will be Gaga only. There cannot be talk about any object whose existence or knowledge of its existence cannot be established. Therefore, existence of the object involves knowledge of its existence. And here, without that, how can there be any object, any knowledge, anything that can take place at all? And we are transacting the whole world without knowing this basic principle that there is, that substantive of the whole world is this. So that is the fundamental understanding should be understood even from epistemological analysis. This is what you arrive. What is knowledge? What is real? What is unreal? What is prama? What is brahma? All these things are, error. Brahma is error in perceptions. All this occurs because of process here in the pramana, and that has to be understood also. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Tadyushmadorasmadi sampratishta tadyushmadoras tasmin vinashte smadi moolabodhat vinashte madimu tadyushmadasman mativarjitaika स्थितिर्ज्वलन्ति सहजात्मनः स्यात् तद्युष्मदोरस्मदिसम्प्रतिष्ठा तस्मिन् विनष्टे स्मदिमूलबोधात् तद्युष्मदस्मन्मतिवर्जितैका स्थितिर्ज्वलन्ति सहजात्मनः स्यात्.
This sloka summarizes Shankara's Adhyasa Bhashya here, where Shankara starts Adhyasa Bhashya before Brahma Sutras. So this is what I gave in the introduction itself. I mentioned about. You'll see if I remember. Tad is that. That means the third person. You remember the first person, second person, third person? So that which cannot be seen anywhere here, that which means saha, which is third person, which is what we call the Daivam, Ishvara. Yushmad is second person. Second person means you, that means the whole world. And both Tad and Yushmad, Asmadi Sampratishta. It arises when first I have to come into picture. The first person. Follow? In the sense, when I say I am first, identify myself as I as a first person, then second person, third person automatically comes, because I am as this and therefore you are and then he is. Because once you are means once the world is, then I bring a creator who created this world, therefore he is. So all these things, you and he came into picture because I came into picture. I came into picture what? I as ahankara, I as an individual jiva, a jivatma, as I am as an individual, identifying myself, I am this and therefore I am not that. So all ego is trying to solidify what I am and what I am not. And this is mine and that is not mine. And I would like to that also as mine. That's what my problem is, trying to get everything. So this is all struggle in life itself. Because I identify myself as I am this part and not that part. Separating myself this and I and that as you. And he has to come in because I didn't create you and he created all this. So Ishvara. So all that is because the fundamental problem of misidentifying myself as I am this. There's no problem in I am. Identifying with I am as this. So first try to dissect this before you go and understand all other things. You are all, that means analysis of the world, all the scientists are doing is objective analysis of the world. That is about you or about it or whatever the world is. And trying to understand, we are going to discover the truth. How? By analyzing that. You can, provided you be careful in the analysis. Because in the analysis of that, you are to be there also. Follow? Because an observer has to observe. The world doesn't investigate by itself. I, as a conscious principle, has to analyze either chemistry or physics or whatever science. I have a conscious entity has to observe the world there. So I is automatically coming into picture. Without neglecting I part only, if you go on that, you will never analyze, because the more you dig in, the more you will get only. That's where quantum mechanics is coming into picture, because the very observer is affecting the observed. To the degree that I get one result, you will get another result, depending upon it. So which one is right? A third one will tell you that his result is correct. Because the observation itself affects the system that is being observed. That is in the quantum level. So what happens? You will never conclude. Only thing that is constant is only observer. Things that will be changing. And without looking at the observer properly, who is observing properly, what is the validity of all other knowledge? And Tad Yushmad will now, even the Lord, we analyzed it also. The first fundamental analysis, try to find out who is the analyzer. What's the validity of the analyzer? And who is analyzer? I am as this identifying that ahankara, and ahankara itself is a fictitious fellow when you try to look at it. So ego, what you call ego, all the Western psychology is based on building up the ego satisfactions and all that. What is that ego to be satisfied? It will never be satisfied. In fact, why? Ego always wants. So how you define ego? That which wants all the time. Wants to what? Wants to have this. So when it gets this, is not happy. It's not that what it wants to have is not, having is not a problem. Wanting is a problem because it will never satisfy with what it has. It always wants to want. So wanting to want becomes the fundamental of the ego problem. Until there is nothing else to want, which means it has infinite things. That means once you reach infinity, I am. That is infinity. You can never reach infinity by adding finite things. So Vedanta says that's not the way to solve this problem. To solve the problem is you recognize you are already infinite. There is nothing to add or subtract. That's the only way you can become Brahman. I don't become infinite. Brahman means infinite. I'm not going to become infinite. That is ridiculous because how can I finite becomes infinite? Mathematically cannot be possible. Only I am infinite. Then if I am infinite, what is there to become? Unless I do not know that I am infinite. Right? Only it's question of knowledge that I am infinite. That's all the Vedanta is telling you. So here, Asmad, the inquiry of I am, who is that I am, you have to understand I am is a fictitious entity, borrowing some properties of that Sat-Chit aspect and borrowing some properties of Anatma, mixing together as a chow-chow. Remember mixture that we have? Salad? There's no salad actually. There's only all things put together. We call it as a salad, but there's no real salad, substantive salad there. In the same way, if I really go deep into it, there is no problem with ahankara. But giving reality to ahankara is the problem. So if I understand it and operate properly, there is no problem. Jnani also operates, but he knows what I am stands for, what this stands for. So here, the falsification occurs only when the Mula Vidya, the understanding the substantive of what is that I am, this Asmad stands for, is I am Atma, which is existent consciousness, plus this, which is Anatma, mixing together. If I understand that, leave out the Anatma is not real, and that which is existent consciousness is always real. So shifting my mind towards that is meditation also. And establishing in the knowledge is realization that I am not this and I am that Sat-Chit Swarupam itself. Not that I am going to become Sat-Chit Swarupam. I am already. But I shift my attention from the external, superficial, attributive Anatma. All the attributes come from Anatma only. To that which is attributeless, Nirguna, which has no form, Nirakara, which is Nityam, which is eternal, which is Satyam, that is, which is absolutely real. So therefore, this Vinashte Sati, that which is falsified as what is not I am, and shifting myself to that, then not only you understand yourself, you understand the whole, because that I am is Sat Chit Swarupam, which pervades the whole entire universe as the substantive. Therefore, even the world is Only I am as Brahman, not I am as Ahankara. I am as Brahman. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Neha nasti kinchana. There is nothing other than this. There is no plurality there. Plurality is all superficial name. Just as, remember this name, Bhusha, Vikara, the ornaments are different. There is no varieties in the gold. It is the same gold, but appearing in varieties of names and forms. But don't get carried away with the names and forms. The substantive knowledge is that it is all gold. In the same way, substantive knowledge of the world of I, you, he is nothing but such Ananda Swarupam that I am. That I am comes into picture. So, Mati Varjitaha, see, leaving out, Varjana means that leaving out the superficialities and contemplating on the reality underlying it. Because Mithya cannot stand by itself, whereas Satyam can stand by itself. The ornaments cannot stand by themselves without the gold, but the gold can stand itself as it is. It's called Anvaya Vyatireka logic in the Vedanta. One is, the other is. One is not, the other is. That's what Anvaya Vyatireka means. One is, the other means the ring is, the gold is. Ring is not, gold is still is. So therefore, this superficial attributive ahankara is Brahman is, as I am is. Even when they are not there, as in deep sleep state, I still am, without any attributes. Follow? Because I am there even in deep sleep state, what? As pure I am, witnessing consciousness, witnessing the absence of the objects out there. Right? Not that I am not there. I am there. Objects are not there because what? They are not being illumined. No light is falling on them because the mind is folded. Therefore, I still am there in the deep sleep state also. Therefore, I am there, they are not there. They are there, I am there. Just as ring and a bangle and a necklace is there, gold is still there. The ring is bangle is not there, gold is still there. Because gold is satyam, others are only superficial. So is there ringly substance? There is no ringly substance or bangly substance or necklacey substance or no substance of its own. It is a borrowed substance, borrowed by the gold which supports it. Without it, it cannot exist. So all mithya means not the ring is not there, ring is not asatyam, it appears to be there and it has utility. All useless things are useful things, or useful things are all mithya only. Because that's the one you are using. Vyavahara. Utility means vyavahara. So transactional reality is there. Ring is different from bangle in terms of usage. So the where you put ring is different from where you put a bangle. So you cannot interchange the use. Even though both are gold. So from the gold point, there is no, in terms of utilities, there is no. Utilities belong to the anatma only, but that which is the substantive has no more attributes of any of this kind. See, maya tadamidam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina mastani sarva bhutani nachaham teshu avastitaha nachamastani bhutani pasyami yoga vaishwaram. Look at the glory, my glory, I can exist in all forms, but I have nothing to do with all the forms. In the same way, the gold exists in varieties of forms, but forms have nothing to do with the gold. The ring has a date of birth and a date of death if it transforms into ring into something else, but gold has no date of birth. That is eternal, at least relative example-wise. And the same way, here, the Tad, Asmad, Ishmad, the I, you, the Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara has to be correctly looked at it. It comes only because you are there as Ahankara, as I am, and unless you analyze that clearly, what it contains, all things will remain as if they are real. But if you analyze it, a mithya cannot be unless you inquire into it. It cannot get out unless you inquire into the validity of it. Then only it will get out, because it's mithya. It's like fighting in the shadow. You cannot fight with the shadow. The more you try to fight it, you are giving reality to the shadow only. When you look at what is shadow and inquire into it, there is no, it is only useless thing, that's all. There is no need to fight. It becomes a knowledge. Okay, let's go to the next.
Bhutam bhavishyascha bhavat swakale. Bhutam bhavishyascha tadvartamanasya vihaya tattvam. Hasyana kim syat gatabhavi charcha. Vinaika sankyam gananeva loke. Bhutam bhavishyascha bhavat swakale. Tadvartamanasya vihaya tattvam. Hasyana kim syat gatabhavi charcha. Vinaika sankyam gananeva loke.
Until then, Bhagavan was discussing about the spatial aspect of it. Now he's going to address about the time. And here you see the beauty of Vedanta, how deeply it goes into it. And remember I told you to freeze your thoughts and see where the thoughts are. And you find most of the time your thoughts, you keep that experiment all the time, you will find that your thoughts are either in the past or in the future, right? Not available in the present. But you can only live in the present. All the action, that law of karma yoga is karmani eva adhikarasti ma phaleshu kadachana. What does it mean? Because you can only act in the present. You cannot act in the past, you cannot act in the future. Present alone is given to you to act. Action can only be done in the present. And the result always follows the action. So, and the results is future to the action, and you have no control on the future. So only choice you have is to act. That's what karmani eva adhikaraste. Here Bhagavan is looking at, what a laughable matter here, because bhutam bhavishyascha bhavat swakale in the same time, bhutam and bhavishyat. So what is past, sir? We are worrying about all the time past, what has happened in the past, all the time concerned about what happened in the past. I should have done, or I would not have done, or should not have done, or could not have done, all the regrets about the past. So what is past? Past was present at that time, right? When past was being in the present at that time when you are acting, that was a present, there is no past. What you call past is actually present when it was present. And now it's only a ghost. Bhutam, you call bhut is called ghost, right? Bhut is something that has no validity. So that which, all the past that you are worried is only the memories that are reflections and left as an impressions in that. You are again remembering as a video, keep on playing reruns, and that comes back into the mind in the present about the past. Isn't it? When you are thinking about the past, what are you doing? You are thinking of whatever the past experiences that are stored in your memory, and now you are bringing that in the present only. So past is gone. There is nothing you can do about the past, nothing you can bring it back. The time cannot go back. Right? Yes or no? Because the past itself was present at that time, so at that time it was only present, there is no past. And future also, it will be present when it becomes a present. Tomorrow will, in India they used to say, today cash, tomorrow credit. Because they know that tomorrow will never come. You got to keep reading that only. So every day it's only today or today only. So past was today. Future will be today. That's why you can live only in the present. Right? The theory is actually concept of time. This is the first look I'm just read. The concept of time, even Einsteinian definition of time, is the space between two sequential events. That's the definition of time. Einsteinian definition is, if I have two time, So, two sequential events, the gap between those two sequential events is the concept of time. And Vedanta says no, it is two sequential experiences make a time. So, which means that mind has to come in. Why? Because when you say events there, two sequential events has to be observed. If you are not observing, we don't know what the sequential events are. So there has to be an observer observing the two sequential events. And that observer should not change with the events. He has to stand apart looking at the event 1, that is observation 1, event 2, the observation 2, and therefore I can gather there is a space between these two observations, and the space between each observation is an experience by the mind, because observation is by the mind through the senses, remember? And therefore, two experiences, gap between the two experiences make a time. Suppose I have only one experience. Will there be a time? There is no gap. There cannot be a time. So if I have only one experience and there is no time concept cannot come unless I have a gap between two experiences. If I have only one experience, there is no concept of time, there is no time itself. I need two. That's the reason why when we go to deep sleep state, there is no time. Why? It's just one experience you are having, not the second experience, unless you get up. Then you realize, oh my God, it's already 4 o'clock. Or 8 o'clock, depends upon when you get up. When you get up. So, the time concept comes when the second experience is coming in, and without that, there cannot be any time concept. That's number one. Present is a time only with reference to past and the future. It's a gap has to be there. I can say this is a present with respect to the past or present with respect to the future because you need two. Or in fact, I can say present is a gap between the past and the future, where past is meeting the future, is the present. And how should be the gap? How long should be the gap? I can cut it into smaller seconds, then microseconds. Still a gap is there. I can keep on picoseconds. I don't know if you know that there is a picosecond also. Keep on dividing by who? I. Dividing, the observer is there, trying to divide. And ultimately what? I cannot really, there is nothing that I can really divide, because unless there is a gap between the two, only I can divide. I can reduce it to 0. That means there is no present. Past is there because present is there. Present is there because future is there. But present is all the time present only, but even present is not there. Follow? The problem is, that's why Bhagavan says, it is like a laughing matter. You are giving an importance to the time because you are worried about the time. All the time. That I have no time. That all your problems are there. So I have a Shaddaka, I don't know if Shaddaka means my co-son-in-law. He likes to buy a lot of watches and beautiful watches and all. I have only $25 or $10, I don't know which I might have bought in sale price. It does the good job of waking me up 4 o'clock. I meant 4 o'clock, I meant it is 4 o'clock. It does wake me up at 4 o'clock. The alarm also is there. I sleep with the watch. And this man brings about, hey, this is, this is very good. This is made in Switzerland, some very special watch, and he brings all this. This is $800 and all that. See, $800 you paid for it. Does it give you more time? Because mine is giving only 24 hours. My parents spending more time, at least so much money, if he gives more time, at least you're okay. So my time cannot be changed. And therefore, what is time? What is there in the present all the time is your presence. I am there all the time. I am beyond the time. Transcendental meditation that words are used. What does that really mean? transcending concept of time, not literally, by shifting my attention to the changing things that define the time, to the changeless where when there is only one experience where there is no changing things to record a time, because time involves change. Shifting my attention from anatma, that continuously, Jagat means jayate, gachyate is Jagat, that continuously keep on changing, that's what is Jagat, to Atma, which is the substantive which never changes. That's all transcendental meditation is. That's if we know how to do it. Means shifting who that I am is. And here Bhagavan says, he says, it is a laughing matter, tad vartamanasya vihaya tattvam hasyana kim syat gati bhava charcha. The discussion of past, future, I'm worried about what? I'm worried what's going to happen in the future. Always people are concerned about future only. What's going to happen? All the stocks have melted down, what's going to happen? All about future, or what happened in the past and what's going to haunt that effects of that past into the present. This is all that discussion has meaningless, because if you don't understand the present, there is no point in, because the past was present, future will be present, and present has no meaning also. So without understanding the first basic present itself, if I can live in the now, then I have transcended the time. Transcendental living itself, not transcendental meditation. Transcendental living means living now. We actually live in now only, but we live in the past or a future. Remember, when you freeze your mind is indulging in the past or indulging in the future, you are not living now. You are living in the memories of the past or in the worries of the future. But if you live in now all the time, life becomes so dynamic, because that's the beauty of life itself, not in the past and the future, right now. So I want to live. Mahatma lives in the present, enjoys every minute of it, only because the life is pulsating everywhere, vibrating everywhere, expressing everywhere in varieties and varieties of forms. If I enjoy the beauty of it, Pasyami Yogavishwaram, look at Arjuna, look at my glory everywhere. That becomes a vibhuti of the Lord, or vibhuti of yourself also. That is the real living of the world. All other living is worrying about all, in India I call castor oil face. The face becomes castor oil because, people used to take castor oil for face becomes like that. Worried about all the time with the gloomy face. Why? There is no reason for it. Oh, things are not occurring. Yes, things that is supposed to not occur properly. If everything occurs properly, life is boring. One lady was sitting in front of the TV and crying, looking at the movie going on. And husband is also crying. She has big box of Kleenex next to her. He says, watching, he says, let me turn it off. No, don't turn it. I want to see what's happening to them. She's crying, what is happening to hero and heroine? And heroine is dying there and she's crying there. And she looks at her husband. Husband also was having tears. Says, why are you crying? Say, I'm here. Why are you crying? I'm crying because the heroine is crying, but you shouldn't be crying. He said, that's why I'm crying. But anyway, so I'm afraid of the past and the future, but future never comes. Past is dead and gone, and all you have to do is live in the present. And here Bhagavan gives an example. It is Eka Sankhya Vina Ganana Iva. As though counting without knowing one, I'm counting 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What is 2 is nothing but 1 plus 1. And 3 is nothing but 1 plus 1 plus 1 only. So without having the Eka first one itself, you are doing all other transactions without knowing the one that really counts. That means I am. What's the point in trying to count all other things as he did that all the time, worried, complaints, everything. Nobody complains about themselves. Everybody thinks they are perfect. Right? I don't know if all complaints about other people only. Why? Other people are always bad. And I am always correct. So all problems are centered in all other people are bad, I am good, and people don't recognize that I am good. That's all that is a laughing matter. Looking from a jnani's point, if I understand it, it does really become jnani. Then the life becomes beauty in its own way. Once you say, what happens to me when I am sitting there in that in that pedestal? How do I look at this life? How does a jnani will say, look at this life? It is just a tamasha going on, drama going on. Drama, there's nothing wrong with the drama. It's a beauty, enjoy. I like, if I sit in the airport, this is what I do. I sit in the airport and observe each person going this way and other people running this way. Some people complaining, some people shouting, some people screaming, some people touting at the air hostess and all that. She's responding. All that drama goes on. Says, that's the beauty of life itself. This guy is causing others to complain. That fellow is causing complaints itself. Everything is in the order. It's not disorder. It's all part of the order. Because that's the whole nature of variety is nature. Every leaf is different from other leaf. If you look at a tree, every leaf looks different. But that's the beauty of nature. You cannot ask everyone, like a robot, everyone in the same way and the same thing, turn the switch on, behave exactly identical. It will be a most boring life, I tell you. So husband has to be different from wife, wife has to be different life, and there should be a disagreement, then only the life is. Everybody, if they agree together, it will be a boring family, I tell you. No, I'm just kidding. But that life, if you can stand apart and look at the life as a drama of life, then beauty pulsates everywhere. And that's the very wonder of the world itself. He says, all that the mother is worried, that's a part of the problem. That's a part of the whole system. Mother worried, child is crying, another child is smiling. The beautiful flowers coming every day, every season, and again all these trees that are bubbling with life right now, with all the greenery, it becomes in the summer. Suddenly things are changing into different colors, and all the drips of dove. And again, so you think the tree will cry? So natural things are. If I am one with the nature and see the beauty pulsating everywhere, that is the beauty of life. Provided I don't bring past, future worries into the present. Living, so the life is not a problem, but how we live and how we indulge in terms of the mind itself, that becomes a problem, provided we know what is the real truth. Okay, let's go to next.
क्व भाति दिक्कालकता विनास्मान् दिक्कालकता दिक्काललीलेह वपुर्वयं चेत् न क्वापि भामो न कदापि भामो वयं तु सर्वत्र सदा च भामः क्व भाति दिक्कालकता विनास्मान् दिक्काललीलेह वपुर्वयं चेत् न क्वापि भामो न कदापि भामो वयं तु सर्वत्र सदा च भामः.
Here it's summarizing the space and time together. So dik and kalam. Dik is the space and kalam is the time. It says asmin vina dikkala katha kvabati. It says without we present there, how can we discuss in terms of the time and the space? So what is the time and space comes into picture once I localize myself as I am this body. So this Vapu says, this when we think that we are the body, it's a plural we, he is using a plural. So when we think that we are the body, then automatically the spatial location already established. Therefore I am here and I am not there. Therefore I am limited by spatially limited, because I am this. Not I am. I am is existent consciousness, is all pervading, but once I identify myself with the localized BMI, the body, mind and intellect, automatically the time comes and the space comes. Because when I say I am this body, then automatically this body is born such and such a date and going to die one such and such a, we don't know when it would happen, that one day it will die. So we have date of birth, all those horoscopes established, everything else is established. Once I identify myself, I am this. And without the body, can anyone say that I am located or there is a time, there is a space at all? So body comes and identification with the body comes, then the location comes, and therefore there is a time concept comes, because the body is changing continuously. Whenever there is change, there is a time concept, and therefore all things of time and space come into picture once I localize myself as I am this body. Without BMI, there is no concept of time or space also. So that's essentially the Kala, it's a Leela. This essentially the play of time and space comes into picture. Vapuru, Vayam Chit. This, we identifying with the body itself is all that. And without that, Nakvapi bhamo, nakadapi bhamo, Vayam sarvatra sadaja bhamaha. When without identification with that, if I don't identify I am this and stop this wrong identification, because this is only an inner thing, I am a conscious existent thing. When I shift my attention to that what I am, and where is that I am? I am existence, and where is that existence not existing anywhere? If there is an existence not existing somewhere, what is there on the other side of that existence boundary? Does it exist? If it exists, then existence is there also. So there is no limit for existence. And how do you know that existence exists? Unless I am conscious of the existence of the existence. So Chit and Sat has to be all pervading. I am going a little fast, but I know because time is coming up. Slokas are still, we are in the, what's the sloka number? 18. So the identification or localization of I am this automatically starts the concept of time, concept of space. But once I realize who is this I, ahankara, what I am saying I, which is identification with the body. Body is not the problem. Body is always localized. It's not going to grow any bigger and bigger. It's already grown bigger, more than what it needs. So body will be limited. But I identifying with the body is the problem. And limitations of the body has become my problem. But if I de-identify, declutch it, at least intellectually, understanding-wise, I am not this body is in me. I am not inside the body. So if I understand it, I can use this body as needed, as this body requires, as the society requires, but I am not the body. And therefore, that I am is sarvatra, sada, this is everywhere and everywhere. Sada means always present, bhama, that is shining everywhere, existing everywhere. That is my real I am. Only by identification with the physical body, I get localized myself, and therefore I condition myself as I am this, and therefore there is a time, there is a space, all that also comes into picture. Let's try one more. Deha.
देहात्मभावे ज्ञजडौ समानौ
समानौ
एकस्य देहे हृदि दीप्त आत्मा आक्रम्य देहं च जगच्च पूर्णः परस्य मेयं तनुमात्रमात्मा देहात्मभावे ज्ञजडौ समानौ एकस्य देहे हृदि दीप्त आत्मा आक्रम्य देहं च जगच्च पूर्णः परस्य मेयं तनुमात्रमात्मा.
It's another beautiful sloka, important also, but we'll see what it means. Essentially, what is the difference between a jnani and ajnani? Someone asked me last time, is there a way? Because I told you we cannot know the jnani by ourselves. Jnani only will know jnani. I don't have a litmus test to say, hey, this man is jnani and that man is ajnani. I can't tell. But here, Bhagavan says, what's the difference between the two? Dehatma bhave jna jada. Jna means jnani, jada means ajnani. From the point of dehatma bhavam, that I am the body, or this is my body, there is no difference. Samana, that means they are same. That means even jnani will have body, number one. He will be eating, he will be sleeping, he will be drinking, he will be thirsty, he will be sleepy, he will be tired also. Why? Because body gets tired. Physical problems will not leave away. Physical problems belong to the matter. So, dehatma bhava means that identity that I am the body, as long it is, you don't have to say this dog needs to be eaten or this donkey needs to be, you don't have to use a long ways that people cannot understand. Someone went to introduce Swami Tejamaya and say, so Swamiji, this body is married to that body. So we don't need to use some, because we are spiritual, we don't have to use some strange language of communication. This is eaten, yes, this is eaten, or this is hungry. All that language is not necessary. Point is, he also has a body, he also has a mind, he also has an intellect. Only difference is, he doesn't think I am the body. He uses this body as, for transaction, he'll say, I am the body, I am hungry, he will tell you. He doesn't have to say, this body is hungry. He doesn't have to use some third language for it. So, he can just say, I am sleeping, otherwise people don't listen properly. So, you don't have to use a strange language. So, jna and jada, the jnani as well as the ajnani, in terms of the body identification, is there. People think that he doesn't have any more body. Somebody else is as if living there. It's not true. Here, as long as the prarabdha is there, the body's prarabdha will go on. If he has cancer, has to come, cancer will come to that body also. Like the Ramakrishna Paramahansa had throat cancer, even Bhagavan Ramana had problem with the hand also. So those problems of the physical body will be there. He doesn't identify myself, I am that particular physical body. Ekasya dehi hrudidipta atma, the one whose hrud in the mind has blowing as I am this, as understood clearly in his own mind. Ekasya, the jnanasya here, the first one, the jnani, one in whose mind he has realized I am that consciousness existent principle. Then he doesn't think that I am only this body, even though for transactional purposes I am this body to transact with other bodies. But understanding wise, I am that akramya deham jagatsa purnam. I am occupying the whole entire universe, not only this body, not that I am not this body. I am this body plus I am everybody else also. Even though when I am hungry, it's only this body is hungry. Remember, you have to be very careful here. Just because other people are eating, so Jnani doesn't have to eat. Jnani still you have to feed him, Bhiksha has to be given for Jnanis and all that. That should go on as usual. Because the physiological, the Vedanta doesn't solve the physical problems. Vedanta solves the psychological problems related to the physical problems. Follow? Physical problems everybody has. But psychological problems associated with the physical problems is different. As I give example, the child may be suffering with the physical problem. The mother is suffering psychologically because of the child's physical problem. Right? Because she cannot even see the pain of the child, but she feels suffering because I don't know what the child is suffering. She suffers more psychologically. And there is a difference. Not that mother should not. I'm not saying there is a difference between concern and worry. There's a thin line. You have to be concerned enough about the child's welfare so that you need to do what needs to be done. Welfare includes the physical, mental, intellectual welfare. But worry is, I don't know what's going to happen. I know that he's going to sit for the exam. I'm sitting here. I am sitting for exam here. He's enjoying somewhere maybe. All that is psychological worry about other people's physical problems also. So that jnani will not have. He will be concerned about the society, what I can do to help the society. Out of compassion, he does whatever, not out of selfishness. He doesn't have anything anymore to gain from the society. He can only give, not take anything. And that is ekasya. The akramya dehancha jagascha purnaha is complete. So there is nothing that society can give him, the world can give him to make him more happy, because abundantly he is happy, overflowing happy. In his presence, everybody will be happy actually. If you go, people used to sit in front of Swamiji, he has a lot of work to do, but people want to enjoy because in his very presence, their worries are gone. That's why they want to hang around him. And that kind of beauty, because he cannot but give out that, it's a bubbling happiness, it comes out, expressing everywhere in every form that's coming out. That is becomes his nature, because he is purnaha, complete. In fact, Bhagavan says, apurnam. It's overflowing complete. There is coming out that everybody is getting that happiness around him. So purnatvam means also happiness is also. And parasya means the one who is ajnani. Dehatmabhava means everybody has the notion that I am the body there. He operates with that notion only. Parasya meyam tanumatram atma. Atma, I am only of this size of the body. Tanumatra means this body size, I am only. I am here and I am not there. And this body has a problem, therefore I have a problem. All this is only for ajnani. Problems are same, but our understanding only differs. I know I'm a little late, but we'll